a senior fellow at the Hoover Institution. He's been watching all the insanity today and joins us tonight. Professor, thanks very much for coming on. I'm just going to ask you the broadest possible question. What did you make of Michael Cohen's testimony before the Congress today?
Well, he was only of value for two reasons. And could he have anything to say about Russia collusion? And did he change our opinion of Donald Trump's method of operation? He did neither. He's already lied about Russian collusion, and the only other aspect was, did he go to Prague or not? And he obviously didn't. He had no reason to lie about that. So I think it's a 36-hour phenomenon, and more importantly, as you've heard from your guest, it was staged to take away attention from Korea in the short term, and in the long term, it's part of the emolument clause, the 25th Amendment, the suing of the voting machines, the in-palace McCabe coup designed to take Donald Trump's positives down to below 40%. I just say about the Korea, if I could, why these talks have failed under Bush and Clinton and Obama were, we didn't think there was an existential threat yet. Now we know there is, with the ability to hit a Western city. So Trump is much more urgent and serious. And second, we had this crazy appeasing idea of China, that they were on the trajectory to the family of nations. And the more we appease them, the more the rich they got, the more reasonable they are. Trump doesn't buy into that. So he's pressing China with tariffs. And then finally, we always gave up on sanctions. We said, well, God, they're eating grass, or we have to be careful about the innocent North Korean people. But they don't rate when you're considering losing Seattle or Portland. So I think Trump brilliantly put it in Vietnam, and he's basically saying with that backdrop, this was an arch enemy of the United States, it's communist, and it's doing much better than you are, and it's not very close with China, and you don't have to be close with China, and we're not going to invade it. And so the carrot is that we probably won't invade you, and you can become a Vietnam. And the stick is, do you really want to live in a neighborhood with a nuclear Japan, Taiwan, South Korea? Because they may well go nuclear if you do. And then China is not the ascendant sun, it's a setting sun, and we're the ascendant power, and we're doing pretty well in missile defense. So even if you did weaponize these weapons in a way, these ballistic missiles to hit us, we could knock them down. So it's a good carrot for you, and it's a bad stick for you, and you can decide. And we suggest you look at what's going on in Vietnam. That might be a model you'd like to consider. So I think it's done pretty well, and I think Michael Cohen, in comparison to all that, it's just more of the psychodramas that we hear every 48 hours about Donald Trump from the left.
If Trump comes back from Hanoi with some sort of framework, some kind of deal that de-escalates for the near future the relationship with North Korea, he'll be the first president to have done that in 65 years. Will that, do you think, be counted as a win for him? And I'm not whining about how they're being unfair to Trump, but it's a sincere question. I mean, do you think people will say, I don't like the guy, but that's kind of impressive?
Yeah, I think it is. That's cumulative, Tucker. I think people admired him for getting out of the Paris Climate Accord. When you look back at it, moving the embassy to Jerusalem, defeating ISIS and almost annihilating ISIS. The Iran deal, I think even its sponsors realize, was flawed. I think even people realize now that NATO needed to pay more, and they're pledged $100 million. So I think cumulative people are saying, you know what, if you look at the entire Trump record, especially under Secretary of State Pompeo, it's getting better, and it's already good. So he'll get credit for it. And in contrast, all the other stuff has failed. All of these melodramas, whether it's McCabe or whether it's the 25th Amendment, they've gone nowhere, and they look smaller and smaller, and Trump's looking bigger.
And it's awfully repetitive too, I have to say. Victor Hanson, thank you very much. It's great to see you, as it always is.
Thank you.
Ed Henry is still in Hanoi, Vietnam by choice, and joins us with a timeline and breakdown of what we expect to see over the next 24 hours. Ed?
Well, Tucker, both leaders now at the Metropole Hotel here in Hanoi, and the bottom line is in about 5 minutes we expect them to sit down behind closed doors and then let reporters come in, take some pictures. This will be another handshake as we saw in day one. About 45 minutes after that, they're going to add more people like Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. I think the key is at about 11:55 p.m. tonight Eastern time, so about noon here local in Vietnam. We're expecting some sort of a working lunch, another meal. Remember, these two leaders with a large group of aides and advisors had a dinner last night that the president said was going to be relatively quick. Instead, it went about 2 hours or so. So that suggests maybe they were getting to know each other a little more, maybe even getting some business done. The real key is that roughly in the middle of the night where you are, about 2 a.m. or so Eastern time, we anticipate there could be some sort of a ceremony where they sign a document like they did in Singapore. The question, of course, is going to be what will be on that document. Is it just you can see the president now and Chairman Kim meeting again. The key is going to be, do they sign an agreement that officially ends the Korean War? Do they do something deeper than that that does move towards denuclearization with some specificity? Bottom line is we're going to be live all night, Tucker, starting 1 a.m. Eastern, taking you through for a couple of hours through that signing ceremony. Then, of course, the president's doing an interview with Fox's Sean Hannity, and we anticipate, depending on how it all goes, the president may also do a news conference with the International Press Corps. All of that live on the Fox News channel all night long, Tucker.
Those are pretty amazing pictures, Ed. You're lucky to be there. Thanks a lot for that update. I appreciate it.
I sure am. Thank you, sir.